Hello folks, welcome back to the channel once again. Thank you very much for joining me. You are always most welcome. So, Matchbox March. I did 3 reviews of kits loaned to me by a good friend David, and I said, that's Matchbox March concludes. And as soon as I'd filmed it, I thought that's not really enough, you know, because I was quite satisfied with what I'd done, because it was all kits that were new that I hadn't viewed before. But the feedback I've got, people have really enjoyed it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to have to do a lot more. I think I'm going to have to really quench the thirst, the appetite that people have got for these wonderful historic kits. So, what I'm going to do, and this is a quick intro, if you like, quick trailer. What I'm going to do is, I think the best way to do this actually is to go via range. So you see in front of me, I've got the purple range at the front, we've got the orange range here, orange range over here, and then we've got the red range, which tends to be the big aircraft, you know, the bigger kits, the Tomcats and Wellingtons and Hankels of Phantoms, Mitchells, B-25. And then you've got, I haven't got many of these, I think this might be the only one actually. We've got the brown range, the Stranraer, which was actually sent as a gift from all the way from Australia from our good friend Lewis Fredrickson a year or two ago. And it's called the brown range, which is it's one of the smaller ranges. It's called the brown range now because you're going to get brown trousers when you see what they're worth. Anyway, I think to try and break it down and give. But what I'm going to do is show my collection. Not all of it, because it's just too much. It's just going forever. But the ones that people will probably recognise the best. Now, what is special, if you like, about my collections? Lots of you have got your own collections of Matchbox, or even just a few, but I have deliberately built up this collection over a number of years, about 10 to 12 years. And I went out of my way, and this wasn't easy actually, there's no easy way of doing it, I've got to be honest. Went out of my way to try and get really mint examples. And for me, Matchbox is really the pre-1982. 82 and before they changed the ownership. So what happened is, in fact, I'm going to give you a brief history. Let me give you a brief history lesson, and then we'll get into the kits a bit later on. So this will put it in perspective for you. Now I'm using here excellent website which I can recommend to you. It's matchboxkits.org, and I can recommend that you go on them. They've got all the ranges there. You can click on them, and then they'll go into all the different models. And for example, we can look at the Stuka. We've got the Stuka, which you see just over here. There it is. But they also do this rather interesting sort of potted history. So if I just go back, let's nip back to where I was and zoom you out, because that would be better, wouldn't it? So you can see what's going on. Yeah, and it gives a very potted history. So Matchbox were a maker of toy cars, basically. And had been since the late 40s. But that all changed, so here we go. I'll just give this brief history as it's written here, and you can go and read this yourselves. It's really, really good. So I'll just give you the brief history. I'm not that excited by the Matchbox brand after 1982-83, because to me it wasn't the same company anymore, and you can see the quality wasn't as good. They dropped things like the aeroplane stands. So Matchbox to me is the original incarnation, owned by, it's actually the Lesney company. So let me just read this to you. Matchbox kits originated in 1972 kits, okay, 72, so that's 52 years ago, when Jack Odell and Lesley Smith, the management of the Lesney Products and Company Limited, decided they wanted a market share of the plastic model kits market. And they also looked at Airfix. I'm not just picking on Airfix here, and Frog and others, and Revell, and thought they weren't very good, I can tell you. This is where Maurice Landy, a keen aircraft person, came in. Lesney management hired him to design a range of Matchbox plastic model kits. It was his job as a project engineer to come up with the subjects which could be found, measured and photographed. In other words, the aircraft which he had access to. When he had prototypes made up, when he had done this, the prototypes are made up by their own staff. They would be presented to the owners Odell and Smith. Lesney management would then decide under advice and give him the budget to realise the kits. To provide attractive packaging, which is a huge, I'm sure most of you, if not all, would agree that the biggest pull of Matchbox was its box art. The Airfix and Roy Cross, who was another great artist, and I'm not knocking Roy Cross at all, I love his work, but the colours of the Matchbox combined with the quality of the art was just knockout, and it's the biggest part of the appeal, if I'm honest, to me anyway. And it goes on to say, to provide attractive packaging, Roy Huxley was hired as an illustrator to draw the box art for the kits. Later, other illustrators, including Doug Post, Ross Wardle and Ken Rush, also worked on some of the kit packaging. But the vast majority was provided, drawn and painted by Roy Huxley. And of course I've done a video about that, about the art of Matchbox, about basically the book of the same name. It says here, the early years. So the first appearance of Matchbox actually on the market, they set it up in 72. There are some kits which actually say 72 on them, like the original Spitfire. Well, that's the original, because that's the original boxing. Something else I'll talk about during the shows. Original boxes, what we call the Mark 1 box, a lift-off box, or the more Revel style. Do not cough on the kit. Excuse me. Window. Okay. So, the first kits were made to be pocket money sized and with a purple range from PK1 to PK20. From the start, they were designed to be attractive to the younger modeller by casting them in multiple plastic colours. Excuse me. In 74, plastic model kit range was then grown, and it first appeared in the Matchbox catalogue 74-75, their own kits catalogue. The orange range was added 74-75, and then they added more ranges like the red range with 3 colours. So the orange range had 2 colours. Start again, sorry. Original range had 2 colours, purple. Orange range had 3, red had 3. They never had more than 3, I don't think. And it goes on into the important bit you need to know. This company it expanded very rapidly. Excuse me about the cough, sorry. And it says, this is where it starts to go wrong, I'm afraid. In 1979, Lesney then bought AMT, the American kit maker, after which we saw combined AMT and Matchbox catalogues appear. Several attempts were made to integrate the two ranges. A recession in the UK, however, in 81 this was, brought a less fortunate period for Lesney. On September the 24th, 1982, the Matchbox kit range was taken over by Universal Toys, a Hong Kong-based firm owned by David Yee. They were actually manufacturing, they started doing the moulding, injection moulding in Macau. And it says the marketing companies for France, Germany and Austria bought that as well. In Hong Kong, a holding company was then formed called Matchbox International Limited. Later, Universal Matchbox Group. David Yee engineered this takeover of a UK-based toy manufacturer, Lesney Matchbox Group. In those days, it was almost unthinkable for a Hong Kong-based manufacturer in a British colony to take over the Star Enterprise based in the UK. This, however, was only the first of a series of takeovers. And it just gives credit here to Maurice Landy, the aircraft designer, saying that Ted Taylor of the IPMS in the UK knew Maurice Landy personally, and he gave him a lot of this information. So you can be sure it's right. And it goes on to talk about their website and their scope and blah blah blah. Now that's very, very good. Matchboxkits.org. I commend it to you very strongly indeed, because it's got lots of lovely pictures. They show everything. They show the box art, they show the back, they show all the sprues, and then they show kits instructions, and they show them being built or completed. So that's a potted history. So what I collected, yes, I have got some of the later iterations because sometimes you can't avoid them. But I only have a handful, perhaps 10 or 12 at most. I've got about 135, 140 Matchbox kits. But the important thing about my own collection is they are, in the main, excuse me, I'm going to get some coffee. In the main, They're really immaculate examples. I mean, they really are immaculate examples. An example here. The Hellcat. This is probably the best one in the whole collection in terms of its age. This is a 72 original on the packaging, and it's got the lift-off box. We'll get into this in more detail later. And as I said, you also had this change where they went from the lift top to the window at the back, which we're all quite familiar with, I think. So I've got a lot of original lift top boxes here. These are all lift top boxes, in fact, I've got around me. Every one of them apart from this, just to show you the comparison. Then that was dropped. That was a very short period in about 73. I think by September, October 73, they dropped it and decided they wanted... I think I could see where they were going in a way, because although I preferred these lift-top boxes, they wanted people to see it. One thing you'll notice on all these, I said that they're mainly mint. 90% are mint, really are. One thing you'll see though, is it's very common anyway. You'll see often see a model shop's price sticker. And you will often see, example here, you will often see the tape which didn't age well. This is the original factory Lesney tape that was used, and you can see there on the left hand end you get this tape. Now that is original, so don't be alarmed, and don't try and remove it if you can avoid it. That is the genuine article. Excuse me. So that still counts as mint and original. Other than that though, most of mine, I've got many examples because I'm a bit greedy. Yeah? So we've got example Wellington, Heinkel, Tomcat, Phantom. I have multiples. I've just picked one out, and where I can, I pick out what we call the original artwork. So original artwork means not this white area that they went to in about 78. Original artwork has the whole painting right over the top, and these all change. So I've got examples of both versions. But I wanted to show, for Matchbox March, I wanted to show the original design of the box art, original and best in my opinion. So, as I say, I've got boxes and boxes very greedily. Matchbox, in the Armour range, which I haven't got in front of me here, but I've got some just behind me. I'll just reach across. I can pull one out for you. Lots and lots of these. This is the M16 half track with the anti-aircraft guns on it. And I've got like a box of Pumas with like 7 Pumas in it, something crazy really. Very greedy, but so they do vary, but I've got multiple Harriers, multiple Hurricanes, as I say, multiples of the big ones. And most of those, if I've got 5 or 6, 3 or 4 of them will be absolutely mint. And I've put out some of the best examples here, for example. My best Stuka, my best Lightning. I've only got one of the Junkers actually, but those of you that are watching this, when you see them a bit closer, you'll be thinking, I'd like some of that. I want one of those. Trouble is, it's really hard, and I was sort of before the 50th anniversary. So it was about going back to about 2010. I started collecting them, so it's actually 14 years, isn't it? In a serious way, I started collecting them about 2010, 2011, and built up this collection. I mean, the Jaguars and the Buccaneers over here, I've got I think 4 Buccaneers and 3 or 4 Jags, and you could argue it's not strictly necessary, but the Buccaneers are interesting because that's the one where they got a bit confused in the factory and mixed up the colours. So I've got different versions in different colour, the sprues in different colour sequences. So instead of the fuselage being white, the fuselage is blue, and then the next one is the opposite. Anyway, part of the fun of manufacturing, I guess. So, what I'm going to do to make this manageable so people don't get bored, because I don't want it to look like I'm showing off my great collection. What I want to do really is jog some memories, and I'm sure it will do that a lot. Some of this stuff is going to do a lot of that. I mean, just down beside me, for example, I've got so many more that are out of camera shot. I've got, Tempests. I've got a beautiful example. This is another mint one, the ME109. The BF109E, that's an absolute stellar, perfect. I mean, that looks like it's 1973 today, to be honest. It's so new looking. And I've got, again, many Harriers, and I've got, as I mentioned with the Spitfire, we've got lift top box original. That's the wrong way around there, isn't it? The lid's been put on the wrong way. Or we've got the slightly later, late 73, 74 onwards, with a window at the back. So you see the difference? They've got two completely different styles. And this is what happens. So if you want to collect any of these, and if you want to go out and get them, I suppose if you go to model shows, I've got to be honest, this is the thing with my friend David, he was collecting a few of them at the model shows, but yeah, whenever I look at them at the model shows, they're always a bit battered and they're not in great shape. You're not going to pick up a mint one like that. You need to pick them up from some lunatic OCD maniac like me, basically, who's looking after them in a way that is, you know, no light, no moisture, no heat, no cold. Preferably not coughing on them, but not, you know, keeping them in a very controlled environment, because they do age badly, especially the decals. They age badly anyway, in fairness, however well you look after them. But if you want to preserve them in the way that you're going to see with some of these, it's not easy, and because of that, there is a very small number that you're going to be able to get your hands on that are as good as mine. There will be some out there, but it's always a bit hit and miss. So I would urge you, if you're looking, when you watch these videos, if you think, oh, I want to get some of these, they're nice, you know, and I'm sure you will, be very choosy. If you're on eBay, if the photographs are not brilliant, don't buy them, is my advice. Unless somebody shows really good photos that are bright and sharp, and you can see that the box is clean and it's not bashed. You know, I mean, we do get examples where you get a little bit of discoloration, and plenty of examples of that around. Actually, that NG is a little bit like that. It's got a little tiny bit of discoloration, not serious, just very mild. But I've got one of the Tomcats was quite discoloured, and the reason I didn't show that particular one for that reason. You know, these are 52 years old. These kits, quite a few of them are. These are certainly 52 years old. These are right in front of me. It's a long time. It's half a century plus, you know. So it's not easy to keep them absolutely mint. It isn't. But if the box looks clean and it's sharp and it's bright, you know. I mean, example here. This is not a perfect example. It's got somebody's obviously squeezed it slightly, but the rest of it is absolutely the print. No UV light on this one. That's clearly had a reasonably good life, apart from this slight dishing where somebody's thumb, I think, has just squeezed it slightly. So that's a sort of an 8, 9 out of 10 example. And then, as I say, you get these, like I mentioned here. I mean, this is absolutely 10 out of 10. I mean, that is Blue Perfect mint. It's completely like brand new. It's almost like we were back in '73. So you've got to choose very carefully. There's no quick fix to it. There's no sort of easy answers when you want to collect any of these things. I just say, if people don't provide a really good, decent quality photo, walk away. Don't go there, really. If I want to sell these kits on eBay, so don't. What are you suggesting? Listen, you want to get your hands on any of these one day when I'm finally gone, you're going to have to get your wallet right open, I can tell you that. But you'll get a beautiful example, because, I mean, you know, we've got perfect Stuka, we've got a perfect Lightning, we've got perfect ME, beautiful Hurricanes. They're gorgeous, some of these. They're absolutely gorgeous. And that's what I look for. I look for one that looks like it's just been in a cupboard, you know. Now, I know some of you say, oh, you should build them. Well, that's what you... Okay, if you want to build them, then buy one that is bashed. That's the answer. That's what I did. Ones that are really in poor quality boxes are the ones I've built. And I think that's the way forward. You buy, you know, get the bad ones. I've got the USS Indianapolis. That's an orange range. A boat. That's the only boat I've got from Matchbox. I always say boat. That's really bad, isn't it? It's ship. Sorry. Tell I'm not a nautical man. But I've actually got one of the Heinkels is quite a lot of parts are off the sprue, and it's a bit of a knackered box. I might build that. I keep saying I might build that. One of these days I'm going to do that, I think. But yeah, just be very, very selective. Don't grab the first one that comes along. Decide which kits you really fancy the most. Make a list and then start looking, and be patient. Be patient, because sadly people do pass away, and some people like myself will have looked after them really well. If you can just grab one of those. I had a couple that I bought from a lady whose dad had passed away, and they were absolutely mint. And all he'd done, he'd opened the box, taken the contents out, put them in a clear bag and put it all back in again. And that's about it. You could tell it'd never been touched apart from being bagged, and that's not a bad thing. It does help them, you know, sort of stand the test of time. In fact, one or two of these have got bags in them. Was it the Spitfire? Yeah, the Spitfire. Actually, you see, there's a bag there where somebody bagged it. So, you know, that's what we're looking for. Anyway, I'm doing this intro, I'm sort of rambling a bit here, but what I'm going to do now, call this the trailer if you like, the intro vid. I'm going to go away and reorganise them. I'm going to start with the Purple Range. Now, I'm not going to do every aircraft. I'll be here all day, and we're not going to review them. I have done that already. So, all you need to do is go into the search box at the top, click my name, type my name in, and Matchbox. And if you know which model it is you're interested in, you put in Tempest. Peter Oxley, Matchbox, Tempest. It's there. Lightning, Snooker, a lot of them. Everything you see in front of you has been reviewed, every one of them. So don't just put Matchbox, because it's a bit weird the way that it comes up with about 7 of mine, then it goes off at a tangent about something else, not even related. So just put Matchbox and then type in the name of the model that you're interested in. You will find it, I promise you. We also are going to have the green range, which I didn't have room to on the desk and the intro. I didn't have room. These are the Spitfire, Messerschmitt, Dauntless, etc., etc. And again, I haven't got them all. I've only got about 3, I think 4. But we'll have a nosy at them because they were the ultimate ones that you know, they were costing about £4 or £5. I think when they came out. It's a lot of money then. You know. So we'll get into all that. We'll do the armour. So I think what we'll do is purple range aircraft, orange range aircraft, red range aircraft, and then we'll do, you know, the brown range. That's going to consist of that one. Then we'll do the big ones. In fact, no, I think I'll keep the big ones to the end. That's the green range, and then we'll jump over into the armour and we'll do purple range and orange range because that's 32 range. I think they did. And again, it's not an exhaustive list. I don't have every kit. I have about 2/3 of the, maybe 3/4 of the entire Matchbox range. I don't have any desire to have them all because there are some kits that just don't interest me. So I've got the kits I want. There's no Matchbox kit that I desperately desire. Yeah, possibly with the exception of the big Lysander. I quite like that one. I mean, you can get it, and don't forget, Revell reboxed a lot of these, so you can get these. If you want to build it, here's the way. Get the Revell reboxed versions because they're cheap as chips. If you want one of these are kind of not really for builders, these are collector's items. They're precious. We want it, we need it. I must have all of them if possible, but unfortunately that's not proving to be very practical. It never fails to amaze me when people pop up and, like on the Flory forum, and say, oh, I'm building this. And then they pop up one that looks really good, and I'm like, no, that's an original. God will never forgive you for your paganism. How dare you? This is what they do every Matchbox March, you see, they build one. But there's plenty of ways of building a Matchbox kit that doesn't anger God or me. Just get yourself either a very bashed up one, or one of the later releases, or under the Revell rebox. Anyway, that's it from me. I thought I'd just give you a little intro, whet your appetite. Is there anything else I can whet your appetite with? Oh yeah, let's see, here's a couple more. We'll also talk about box art changes. Example, our old friend the Dassault Mirage with drop tanks on it, and then people complained when they opened the kit, including me actually, where are the drop tanks? And then they had to change the artwork and they scrubbed them out later, which I'll show you pictures of. We've got some of the nice ones. What's this, 78 is it? I think that's a 90. Oh, it's 83. Now this is interesting because this has not got any references to the Hong Kong operation. So this was designed, tooled, printed and made, I believe, and put out there. It says 83 on it, but I don't think that's got anything to do because it hasn't got any of the Chinese writing on it or references, which they normally do. That to me has got Lesney written all over it, the Havoc. So things like that, you know, that's one of the last of the very last of the line of the original manufactured kits from the original series. So I'm gonna go through them. So I'm not going to actually review each kit. I'm going to get them out, show you, talk about any interesting points that I think are relevant, and just let you soak up some of the lovely, you know, the artwork and things like that. And I'm sure it'll bring some memories back for quite a few of you. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going to do. It's running up, as I'm speaking, it's running up towards Easter 2024, so I thought it'd be a nice thing to do and give people something to watch over the long Easter weekend. Some nostalgic memories and Matchbox kits, which I think you'll all enjoy. So anyway, stay tuned. I'll be back. Hope you'll give me a 10 out of 10 with a thumbs up for this brief video. Briefish. Sorry about the coughing. Thought I got rid of the cough, but I think I just need to a drink. I'll be back, as Arnie famously said. Stay tuned. In the meantime, stay well, stay safe. Thank you very much for your time, for watching. Hope you enjoyed it so far. It's whetted your appetite a little bit. I will be back very soon. Until then, thanks very much. Take care of yourselves, and bye for now.